think, would rather be on a more positive message. But I'm also struck by that. I'm struck by, in the closing days, Mr. Trump is out there 5-6 days a day, yesterday and today, making an argument about what's next after Obamacare, making an argument about how to make us more prosperous and safe, giving a more uplifting, visionary closing argument. Hillary Clinton spending literally tens of millions of dollars on negative ads.
Kellyanne Conway, Donald Trump's campaign manager, appearing on ABC's Good Morning America earlier this week, saying that Hillary Clinton, as the Democrat nominee, chose to stick with a negative message about Mr. Trump in the final days of this election. But will it be effective for HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton? Well, let's take a look at very early numbers from the Hoosier state of Indiana. Less than 1% of the precincts reporting Donald Trump with a very comfortable 69-28 lead. But again, it is very, very early. The numbers could change, but the numbers, such as they are what we're here for, to give you the results, and as we get them, we pass them along to you. Now, more of a conversation about strategy, tactics, and the outcome tonight. To talk about it, we're pleased to welcome in Republican strategist and host of the Andrea Kaye radio talk show. Joining us via Skype from Southern California, it's Andrea Kaye. And again, from Newsmax New York, my colleague here at Newsmax TV, Bill Tucker. And from Newsmax Washington, all around good sport, a very effective Democrat consultant, Kevin Walling. Kevin, we always appreciate your time, and we know that sometimes the philosophical underpinnings are a bit different for a majority of us on this panel, but we will have a good discussion. To that end, for all three of you, I want to take a look at the final argument ads that were out there in rotation heavily on national television in a lot of different markets where there are critical swing states. Let's take a look at Mr. Trump and his final televised pitch to the voters.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election.
Just a portion of what was a 2-minute ad from Donald Trump, and Hillary Clinton likewise put together her final argument in a 2-minute campaign ad. Let's look and listen to a portion of that.
I think we can all agree it's been a long campaign, but tomorrow you get to pick our next president. So here are a few things that I hope you'll think about. First, it's not just my name and my opponent's name on the ballot. It's the kind of country we want for our children and grandchildren. The second thing I want you to know is this. I will work my heart out as president to make life better for you and your family. And finally, working for children and families has been the cause of my life, but it's never been more important than it is right now. I'm asking for your vote. And tomorrow, let's make history together. I'm Hillary Clinton, and one last time, I approve this message.
So, Hillary Clinton in her bid to become the first female president of the United States. Let's ask the female on our panel, Andrea Kaye. You know, it was very warm and fuzzy from Hillary. We haven't seen that through the last couple of weeks. Will that contrast be enough to carry her the final distance, Andrea?
Well, I'm not really sure, because I'm not really sure who her audience is for that ad, who she's playing to there, because anybody who's really been paying attention knows that there's nothing about her that was actually in that ad, because there's nothing warm and fuzzy about Hillary Clinton. What it was the same old tired platitudes that fit on a bumper sticker. There was no actual policy there describing how she's actually going to do anything for anybody. So it didn't resonate with me. And then it ended with an exploitation of women, talking about history being made. That's what that code was about at the end. And as a woman, I find that offensive, that I'm supposed to vote for somebody on the basis of gender alone. So I don't know who she was trying to reach there, but it wasn't me.
Kevin, let me turn to you, because obviously you sit on the other side of the aisle from Andrea and from me. So you probably have a different look at it. And I will just tell you, as a guy who spent 12 years in Congress, I look at the ad and I go, why that could be effective. But yet this year, Kevin, it seems that we've done a 180 on the effort to have high production values and the kind of soft focus of the lens. In other words, it might just be too slick. Is that needlessly critical of Hillary's farewell ad?
I think it is. You know, this was a really important spot to get out because it's Secretary Clinton speaking right to the camera about her values, about her vision for the country. It's an uplifting message. I think we can all agree on this panel that it's been a pretty divisive, negative campaign season. So I think it's important for this final spot to be uplifting. It highlights her work on behalf of women and children, her entire career, going back to her time in Washington, her time in Arkansas, and her time as Secretary of State around the world. Supporting women and girls, and noting how historic this election will be when she's elected the 45th president of the United States in just a few hours from now.
Well, let's not count our votes before they're officially recorded there, Kevin, but we appreciate the little injection of partisan provocateurism there. Is that even a word? Provocation. No, anyway, let me turn to Bill Tucker as I start sounding like Norm Crosby doing his Vegas routine and inventing words here on the set. Bill, you know, the irony was there was that last spot from Hillary. Conversely, you had the Trump spot that was uplifting too, and kind of interesting because they just took audio from his stump speeches, but they had some compelling video there. But to me, you know, I always heard Hillary talk about when they go low, we go high. Man, this last 2 weeks, especially the last week of this campaign, I didn't see Mrs. Clinton reaching for the stratosphere in terms of vision. Did I miss something, Bill?
No, not at all. In fact, I think what's interesting about the two closing arguments from both of the candidates is that they are coming from two people who are the most disliked presidential candidates in the history of the country. We don't like these people. We don't trust them. We feel badly that these are our two choices. And now, with like 1 day to go, suddenly everybody turns really nice. And Mrs. Clinton sits there and says, I really, you know, you great people and vote for me. And, you know, Donald Trump, at least, that's audio taken from some of his stump speeches, as you noted. So at least it sounds a little more genuine. I don't know that this ad is going to persuade anyone. You know, Andrea says who's she playing to. Both of these people are playing to their supporters, which is why I don't think they'd be particularly good ads. They might have been, actually, you know, if we had seen this about a month ago or something, when we'd seen these two candidates try and say, look, vote for me for these reasons, but we've got a lot of don't vote for that guy, don't vote for that lady, because things are going to go bad. So I don't know that these ads are particularly effective for anyone except for the people who are going to go vote for them anyway.
But when you really think about it, Andrea, political science, that some call the ultimate oxymoron, in an election can be boiled down to this: identify your voters and get them to the polls in greater numbers than your opponent. The one thing we've seen from the Trump team, by virtue especially of these last 2 days and these huge rallies, is remarkable intensity. Andrea, is that enough to carry Donald Trump to victory?
Well, I think it's going to go a long way. What I do think that the conventional wisdom has become at this point, really, hasn't it really all about the independents, though, those in the middle, that each side's core base really only gets to about 45 or 47%, and you really got to get to the other 5%. And if I look at those two closing arguments, I would argue that Donald Trump's message in that closing argument has been consistent with his message from the beginning. Maybe the hashtag drain the swamp has been recent, but he has been railing against a rigged system and the corruption of the system and the corruption in the Clinton family and the Democrat Party and the establishment in general from the very beginning. He rose to the nomination as an us versus them, an anti-establishment candidate. And I really think that that's resonating with those 5%, those independents. I can't say that anything about Hillary Clinton's is going to reach to that. And oh, by the way, if there was anybody, any independents or Democrats that were supporting Donald Trump, who she came out last week and doubled down on the deplorable comment, I think she might have lost any of them.
Well, let me turn to Kevin, and because, Kevin, we're hearing, especially in the swing state of Florida, that Latino voters, the turnout is really huge. But there's something, when you go into the numbers, that's very interesting. It's the fact that Latinos, who the assumption is they're all for open borders, actually a majority of Hispanic voters want immigration laws enforced and do not depose deportation. So should you step carefully, assuming the Latino vote will basically be the sole province of Hillary Clinton? We got about 45 seconds for your answer, Kevin.
Sure, JD. I think we're seeing incredible numbers with Latino turnout in all of the key states. You're seeing it in Florida, you're seeing it in Nevada, where we're seeing these numbers unparalleled in previous elections. 100% increase in terms of Latino early vote in the state of Florida. And I think that's a direct reaction to how Donald Trump started this campaign when he came down the escalator at his hotel, claiming that they're rapists, that they're criminals, that they're bringing drugs across the border. That's how he started this campaign of negativity, and you're seeing that really bite him in the end on election day today.
Time grows short, but it is worth noting that in that opening speech, he pointed people, I'm not talking about you and you and you, but he was talking about a criminal element coming in via illegal immigration. We could continue to talk, but unfortunately that four-letter word time is in the way. We have to step aside right now. Our thanks to Kevin and Bill and Andrea, and we will have more discussion and more election results as we continue our coverage here on Newsmax TV.